Okay, so welcome to today's training. Today's training is about your unique program roadmap. What I want to do is to help you and show you how to design your own hero program. So it's not comparable to any other coach's program out there. And I want to do it in a way that it creates something that people want to buy. They want to actually sign up because they've got a lot of confidence through that. You know, a lot of times when, as coaches, we're just selling stuff, we're just putting stuff out there, it confuses people. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we create something that they can see themselves a part of. They can see themselves going through the journey. It's got all the elements of a road trip or a holiday that they're going to go on. They know exactly where they're going to be when and what the destination is. All right, so by the way, there's a workbook for this, or worksheets. Just if you are watching this in the group, put the word worksheet below, workbook below, and I'll get a copy to you. If you're watching this on my page on my website or on my YouTube channel, then you'll also see either a button on the page or a link just below the video so you can get a hold of it. By the way, the listening to me is going to help you grabbing the workbook and making sure that you then have the templates to be able to implement what I teach. That's where the value is going to come for you. All right, so let's get started. All right, as we always do, what I want to do is make sure that we have an understanding around the whole concept and we have a look at the things to avoid doing and what to do instead. Because my experience in both my own early journey and the many coaches that I work with in our Growth Accelerator is that initially we're all making these mistakes. So this is an opportunity for you to be able to think differently before we actually get into the how-to. All right, by the way, if you are making any of these mistakes, then don't worry about it because this is an opportunity now for you to do something differently. All right, so let's talk about your program. When we are creating a hero program, by the way, a hero program is your signature solution program that people are going to go through. If it's a great program, it's more than a course. It's got a coaching element, a community element, etc. And we design all that in Growth Accelerator. But let's look at this from three areas. The first thing is I want to take a look at the design. Also want to look at the creation and, importantly, how we deliver and what in fact we deliver. All right, so let's take a look at design firstly. So when most coaches design a program, what they do is they focus on content. What am I going to put into the program? What is the content? How much can I give them and whatever? And whilst content does come into the equation, it's definitely not the way to look at it. What we're doing here, what we're designing is an experience. As I said, we're taking people on a journey from where they are now to where they want to go. So we need to make sure that instead of just focusing on content, we look at the journey itself. All right, so when we look at creating, we all love to create. What I see most people focus on and what they do is I need to create some sort of a portal where I've got all these videos and worksheets and everything so that people can go through it. And don't get me wrong, that's a part of it. We do need to do that. I use Kajabi and it's got a great system for delivery and it's all brilliant. But what I'm talking about here is what the focus needs to be. So we're not creating a portal. We're creating a pathway, which is way more than just having videos in a portal. We're creating a way for them to solve their problems and to go from where they are now to where it is that they want to be instead. We're creating that journey, and I'm going to show you the way that we need to do that. Then when we consider the delivery side of things, if you miss the mark on this, what you'll end up doing is having consumers. People who just come to that portal, they consume your stuff, they never really get any results. They never really complete anything with any consistency. And, you know, they might ask for a refund, but even going beyond that refund period, they're not really going to be your raving fans. They're not going to be people that want to do more with you because they just bought something and didn't get the value out of it, even though it was there for you. So if you do what I'm going to teach you today, what you'll end up with instead is not only people that complete the work in the modules, they'll actually continue on with you in your program. See, as I said, the idea is to have a hero program where people go through your curriculum and the things that you're teaching, etc., and they get the information, and then the coaching program that goes along with it, the coaching element, helps them with implementation. All right? So what you want to be able to do, even if you've got a course that's a hero course that people go through, you want to be able to design it with leverage in mind so that you can then move them into a monthly recurring revenue program, which is a continuation program. All right? So however you're doing it, we want to make sure that they continue with you. All right, so what I want to do now is lay a foundation with some principles for you around actually putting together a unique roadmap. And then I'm going to show you through the workbook and how you can then use those templates to create it. By the way, if you don't have the workbook yet and you're watching this on the Facebook page, then just type the word workbook below. And if you're watching this on my website or on YouTube, there's a button or a link just below the video so that you can get it and have the worksheets to go through. All right. So the first thing we need to do is it needs to be created, and the journey needs to be one that's a logical sequence. You know, it's like building a house. We don't just start with the 5th course of bricks. We put in a foundation, and then we put the first layer of bricks and then the next layer, and we build on top of what we've already done before. And that's what we need to do when we create a hero program. It needs to make sense that I do this and then I do this and then I do this, rather than what I see a lot of times with programs that I've been through, that they just have all this information. I'm not quite sure what's the next thing I'm supposed to do. What is it that I'm supposed to be moving forward from? All right, so we need to make sure that we have it done in a logical sequence. The second thing is that we need to create a visual journey. Now, I'm not just talking about having great slides and, you know, wearing a good shirt or whatever. That's part of the presentation. What I'm talking about is creating a visual journey where they can see themselves in that journey. You know, on top of the fact that we have a vast majority of the people in the world, high percentage, are visual. So we need to make sure that it's visually appealing to them. And as I said, that they can see the bigger picture. They can see the next step. They can see what it is that they need to do, not just hear it as information. All right. Then it needs to have a transformation focus. It needs to, just like the larvae becomes a butterfly, allow them to go through stages. It needs for you to help them to incrementally grow in the areas that they need to grow. So everything, whether it be the entire program, which has got an overall transformation, that A to B transformation we've talked about before, or within each stage or step of your program, and indeed every bit of content in your program needs to take them through a transformation, not just give them information. Everything that we do needs to have simple steps. People's lives are complicated enough. We don't need heaps more things that are, complicated. It's like when you get some softwares that we use and then there's tutorials and it's like, do this. And it's like, well, how can you break it down for me? Well, that's what we need to do here. We need to make sure that, like the babushka dolls, we have a big chunk and with inside that, there's smaller chunks, right? So that it's all broken down. It's simple. We do this, then we do this, then we do this. And hey, guess what? You're now ready to go to the next stage. And it needs to have measurable milestones. People need to be able to celebrate progress. They need to be able to celebrate the small wins. So there needs to be milestones that let them know when they've got there. There needs to be, and there's many ways that we do this, and when our coaches put this together in Growth Accelerator, we go deeper on this. We need to be able to allow them and prompt them to celebrate, to see that they've actually made some progress. Because this is the reason why most people don't complete a course that they might buy. Because they can't see that they're actually moving forward. Because what they're doing is they're focused on where it is that they want to end up. And if they're not there yet, then they see themselves perhaps as failing and therefore they give up. Right? So we need to be able to help them to not just get that aspiration, but they need to see that they're actually solving their wants and needs problems right now as well. All right, so they're the key elements that you need to understand. So what I want to do now is show you through the workbook so you know how to go away and utilize that. If you haven't got the workbook, just type workbook below and I'll get it to you. If you're watching it on the page or on YouTube, there'll be a button or a link below that you can get a hold of it and you'll get access to these. All right. Now, obviously, we go deeper on this in our Growth Accelerator, but I want to give you the benefit because you can take this and start your own journey and build your own program. So firstly, I want to talk about a model. We need to have some sort of a model that can visually show them where they're going. And I'm going to show you a couple of them. All right, so we have a Venn diagram here where it's using the power of 3. And if you've been around with me teaching this stuff for a while, you know that I totally believe in the power of 3. It really helps people to be able to see where they're going and to see that they're actually getting enough, but it's not too much, right? So we don't want to create overwhelm. So we've got 3 big areas, and within each of those areas, we've got 3 broken down steps within that. And then we even go further, and in each of those, we have 3 more. All right, so let me show you another visual journey so that you can get a little bit more understanding around this. So in terms of our Growth Accelerator, and I'm covering up a little bit there, but you can see it. So it's got 3 stages: clarity, content, clients. So the first is the foundational, then we build on those skills, and then we build on those skills, as I've said. Then with each of those clarity areas, we do an identity overhaul firstly to get clear on the roadblocks that are holding you back, to get clear on the mindsets, the false beliefs that you have about yourself or about the particular area that you're working in, whatever it is. We get you ready so that you can go to the next step. Then we do expert positioning to help you to realize what you do know and how you can turn that into enticement for people who need the problem that you solve right now. We then align you with the right audience and create a magnetic message. That means that you're not out there trying to drag people in, they're coming to you. So that's clarity. Then we go up into content, and the first thing we do, we go around the corner there and we do signature solution. This is part of signature solution that we're going through right now, where we create your way of solving that problem. We look at presentation mastery, delivery leverage, so you end up with energy at the end of the day, not just creating yourself another job. And then once we've move through that content area, we've got the elements of clients. So filling your funnel, creating an irresistible offer, and conversion confidence so that you actually get clients. And the reason I wanted to show you this is that this is a logical way of taking someone from where they are to where they want to go. And I want to point out that, for example, a lot of programs where they're based on, what I do, it's about, oh, show me the client stuff. That's the sexy stuff. That's the stuff I need right now. But here's the problem. If we do that before we work on you, the person, then you're not going to implement it anyway, right? There's so much stuff out there that you could learn about getting clients in your coaching practice, in your training practice, but it's not about that itself. It's about taking you through a journey so you'll actually use it. Hopefully that makes sense for you. All right. So then in the workbook, you'll see a place where you can go through, you can create your stages, you can create your steps, you can work out what each of those steps are for, etc. All right. So that's how we create a unique program roadmap so that we can then work on the content, getting it together, having the marketing inbuilt in the content, etc. All things that we cover in the Growth Accelerator. All right, so there's a couple of things you're going to have right now. One is questions. So if you have any questions and you're watching this in the group, pop them down below. I'd love to answer those, right? If the other thing you'll have is insights, things that you've taken out of this and gone, yeah, I didn't know that, or it's something that I've been reminded of, or that's something that I'm going to do. That I need to take notice of. I'd love to hear about those as well. By the way, if you're watching this on the page, then you can just respond to any of the emails that you've received when you got the workbook and ask those questions as well. That'd be great. But what I want to do is challenge you around the implementation. Nothing is of value unless you do something with it. All right, so please take the workbook. If you haven't got it, make sure you get it and go through this. And if you feel that you need some more of this, you need some more help, and you'd like to know more about the Growth Accelerator so that you can not only get what we've been giving here, you can go deeper, you can work with me where we can work on your stuff, then please, if you're in the group here, just put Growth Accelerator in the comments or send me a message and I will get back to you. Same, if you're watching this on the page, you can respond to any of the emails and say, hey, Grant, please tell me more about this Growth Accelerator. Okay, so go ahead, build yourself a unique program roadmap so that you can stand out from all the other coaches out there that are doing similar things to you, and your perfect fit clients will sign up and you'll be able to have a consistent, regular income. You'll be able to be a bigger influence in your market and make that impact that you wanted to make in the world. All right, I'll see you in our next training and in the group.